I'm Richard Asprey. I'm a lifelong motorcycle rider and collector of motorcycles from all over the world. And with my friends, I ride them. This is my motorcycle journey. When you see hand-painted goodness like this, you've happened upon the work of renowned artist Alton Gillespie. Evidence of his artistry can be found on many of the motorcycles in my collection.
I love painting motorcycles because it's part of the total game. I am Alton Gillespie, and this is my motorcycle journey. I went into it as a sign painter. So I was painting walls and windows and 4x8s. This before I went into race cars. A famous race car driver known as Mr. Bardall. He bought this track, he ended his deal with Bardall Oil Additives and became his own entity, Bill Hilscher. And he said, take the Bardall off of everything and paint Bill Hilscher's Green Valley Race City on there. That was my first introduction on race cars, and in 4 days, I lettered 5 race cars. So that's how I got started. When I tell people I have a Russian motorcycle, they think it's something that came over here past 1990 that's either a Ural or a Dnepr. And most of them are Urals. But no, this is a 350 twin two-stroke. A 350 twin with a single carburetor, that's supposed to be impossible. However, there's a Y-shaped plenum going into the cylinders, and there's a flapper valve that goes either way. So the charge coming in goes either one cylinder or the other. It works fine. I mean, this thing will run forever. But the fact is, it's a miserable piece of shit to ride. Okay, so I've taken it to different rallies, and sometimes I show it. And hundreds of times I've sent it to as many people. I mean, people walk up and look at it, what is this? I say, you tell me what it is, I'll give it to you. Now on the side real big, that's the model name, Jupiter, which in Ruski means Jupiter. Well, people read this, they invariably say, Yontep? Nope, 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 nope. Well, but then on the tank, there's 2 characters, those 2 characters, and they stand for IZH in US. And that stands for Izhevsk. They started off as copies of BMWs that the Wehrmacht left behind when they failed to invade Russia. But since the war, they have taken a different evolutionary turn. They're the same layout, but no, this is no such thing. This is a 350 twin two-stroke. These were never imported here, but so it was originally built for a sidecar, with a sidecar, and somebody bought it in Europe just for the sidecar. One day I was working for a famous motorcycle exhaust manufacturer. He said, hey, if you're into Russian shit, I know somebody has a Russian motorcycle. You can probably talk him out of it. Okay, let's go. So that's when I was introduced to Perry Boucheron, BMW Fort Worth. I wound up trading for that thing for $500 worth of pinstriping. Several times in later years, he tried to get me to sell it back to him. I said, nope. Well, I've had good fun with it ever since. This was in '84 when I started working for him, and no, '83. Let's see, last time I got it running, there's a motorcycle parts store in Hearst. I went there and I was going through the battery section, and I was looking at the batteries, and all I'm looking for is the smallest 6-volt battery. So the guy comes back there and said, what are you looking for? I said, well, I'm looking for a 6-volt battery. He said, okay, I got my book right here. Tell me what you have, I'll tell you what battery you need for it. I said, I have a crisp, fresh $100 bill in my pocket. I will give you that $100 bill if you can find my motorcycle in your book. Okay, what is it? It's F. Jupiter. Well, how do you spell it? Needless to say, I did not have to give up my $100. I walked down with the cheapest 6-volt battery I could. It looks like a lot of things. I'm surprised how many people, completely uneducated people, will say, oh, that looks like a BMW. It looks like a BMW like I look like Theodore Roosevelt. I don't know. It don't. Okay, there's the 2-wheel model and there's a sidecar model. The sidecar model has smaller wheels, a smaller front sprocket to gear it down, and I guess the forks are raked a little bit more. Anyway, so it's set up for a sidecar. Without the sidecar, it meanders aimlessly like a Muscovite in search of shoes. I was a 0 in school. I hated school, they hated me. I was a failure at everything. So I'm sitting at the back of the class drawing cartoons. Now back then we had the car magazines, and Ed Roth, the mighty Ed Roth from Los Angeles, builder of still some of the craziest cars ever built. Plus, he had t-shirt ads where he'd buy a whole page in a magazine or a half a page, and there's all these t-shirts with intricate detail, and the image was a half-inch tall. Well, I'm blessed with nearsightedness, myopia, and I was copying those designs, doing this big. I'd say, okay, buy me a shirt, give me about $1.50, or maybe go buy me a handful of Marks-a-Lots, and I'll do you one on your t-shirt. I had them all over the high school. And that's the first money I ever made. $1.50 a shirt. So I was pretty good at copying these things. But I was getting kicked out of school because I was sitting in the back of the class drawing cartoons instead of doing what I would do doing what I'm supposed to do for my future, which is education. They kicked me out. Well, 30 years later, I'm making tons of money doing the same cartoons. Years later, I'm sitting at my desk doing something I had to do that night, and there's Ed Roth in my Mexican barber chair. And I'm looking at him and saying, this is unreal. Yeah, we went to car shows together, we traveled together. The first magazine article ever written about me was written by Ed Roth, back when I was doing the Blue Max Funny Car. I picked him up at the airport. We went, I said, where do you want to go? He said, McDonald's. Oh, we go in there, he gets 2 Big Macs. Now, I was told this by Robert Williams, who was one of his main artists. And he said, if you buy good food for him, you're wasting your money. For him, food is fuel. True to his form, he got 2 Big Macs. Now let's go off to Blue Max. At that point, I was painting a Blue Max funny car. One of the top funny cars in the nation at the time.
Manufacturer's note. Due to constant perfectioning of the motorcycle design, the manufacturer hereby notifies the customer that some minor changes in design may not be reflected in the present instructions.